leaders, our elders in the Yoruba nation across the globe. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ wa, happy Sunday. Mo pé week yín lọ dáadáa. A dẹ̀ dúpẹ́ fún àǹfààní tí ẹ̀ ń fún wa létí gbọ́. Eléyìí tá tún máa bára wa sọ náà kò yàtọ̀ sí tí a ti ń sọ bọ̀. Bọ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí mo ti ṣe sọ fún yín pé lórí self-determination, Koikimedia bringing the world closer to your doorsteps. Today, the 21st day of the month of September 2025. Èyí ni Sunday tó jẹ́ the one towards the last. Tá bá máa fi mú next week Sunday. Oṣù yìí náà ti parí. A jẹ́ pé a ti ń palẹ̀mọ́ sílẹ̀ fún October. Mo wá bẹ̀ Ọlọ́run Elédùmarè kó túbọ̀ fi ìṣọ́ ẹ jẹ́ fún mi ní pen àti ààbò lé gbogbo wa lórí gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ káàárọ̀ oòjíire. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa pé èní ló pé 101 days tí a ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ Yoruba Nation Rally tí Emeritus Professor Adébánjí Akíntóyè tó ní ká máa ṣe. Olúkálùkù náà sì lè máa ṣe tọ̀dọ̀ tiẹ̀ so that kó lè máa add up nígbà tí a ti mọ̀ pé ọ̀nà tí a fẹ́ fi jáde kúrò ní Nàìjíríà, ọ̀nà tí ó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú kó má mú ìtàjẹ̀ sílẹ̀. Eléyìí náà ni olúkálùkù wa ṣe gbọ́dọ̀ máa ṣe gẹ́gẹ́ bí wọ́n ṣe ní ká máa ṣe nípa rally wa. Awareness ò ń ṣe tó máa ń tán lójú kan àbí lọ́jọ́ kan. Ìyẹn á máa create awareness, engagement títí tí ìta ń béèrè fún tó máa fi tó wa lọ́wọ́. Ìta ń béèrè fún ìṣe tó máa ń fúnyàn, èèyàn máa ṣiṣẹ́ fún tó máa fi kàn wá lọ́wọ́. Àlàyé tí a máa ṣe lálẹ́ yìí ó máa mú wa lọ sí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ tó ń lọ ní international world. Bí mo ti ṣe sọ fún yín tẹ́lẹ̀, gbogbo tó bá ń lọ nípa Yoruba Nation campaign tí ẹ báyìí tí wà sórí ìkànnì yìí, ó ṣeé ṣe kẹ́ má mọ̀ bó ṣe ń lọ pẹ̀lú àgbáyé. Kò ń ṣe àwa nìkan ni à ń béèrè fún break up, dissolution àbí láti dá dúró gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìlú. Ní alẹ́ yìí a máa sọ nípa ìlú tí ó jẹ́ the country tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ti recognize. Mo wá fẹ́ jẹ́ kí ó yé yín náà pé kí làwa máa ṣe àti pé níbo la máa dé kí àwọn àgbáyé tó recognize wa gẹ́gẹ́ bí country. Àwọn ìlú tó recognize ìlú yìí, ìlú tí ó jẹ́ láàrin méjì, wọ́n náà wọ́n gbà, but diplomacy is still ongoing. So ẹ farabalẹ̀ kẹ́ jókòó kájọ wọnú ètò yẹn lọ. Lẹ́yìn ìgbà tí bá ti pé anthem, a wọnú ètò yẹn lọ. A máa sọ pọ̀lọpọ̀ Gẹ̀ẹ́sì, máa sọ fún wa pé kí ló dé tí a ṣe ń sọ English ìwọ nìkan kọ́ ni mò ń bá sọ̀rọ̀ torí ìwọ kọ́ ló fi fún wa ní Yorùbá nation torí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nínú wa understand in tó ń pè ní diplomacy mo dẹ̀ ń ṣe journalist tí ó ń bá ọmọ Yorùbá nìkan sọ̀rọ̀ nígbà tá ti náà fẹ́ kúrò ní country a gbọ́dọ̀ plead lobby láti bá wọn tó jẹ́ countries around the world ó ṣeé ṣe káwọn náà máa gbọ́ wa so gbogbo nǹkan tá máa sọ lálẹ́ yìí ó máa gbé wa dé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìlú oríṣiríṣi ṣé bá mi retweet ẹ bá mi share èyí tó jẹ́ yín lógún fèmí nìyẹn bẹ́ bá pín àǹfààní ló ṣe fèmí àtẹ̀yìn bẹ́ẹ̀ bá dẹ̀ pín náà èmi nìkan kọ́ ni mo máa jẹ breakfast nínú Nàìjíríà gbogbo àná làjọ máa jẹ ìgbà tó máa kan olúkálukú ni kò mọ̀ kọ́lọ́ ìbẹ̀ Elédùmarè kó má jẹ́ kí a kọlu terrorist tí wọ́n bá negotiate torí pé wọ́n ní dá ẹni tó jẹ́ ọmọ Oǹdó Kwara Kogi Ọ̀yọ́ Lagos Ọ̀ṣun Èkìtì àbí wọ́n tó bá jẹ́ Christian Muslim àbóníṣẹ̀ṣe kò sí tó kan terrorist tí wọ́n negotiate pẹ̀lú ní Katsina tọ́lọ́n bá mú ẹ tó bá di pé ìwọ ló bá lọ kidnap so mo kẹ́yìn yan wa please share the program and retweet iṣẹ́ wa fúnlẹ̀ wa forílẹ̀ ìbí wa kàgbéga 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 fàlérí ìgbàgbọ́ wa ni pé àti bẹ̀rù làbọ̀ mọ́ ká ṣiṣẹ́ ká ṣiṣẹ́ ká ṣiṣẹ́ ká jọlá ìṣọ̀kan àtòmìnira ní kẹjẹ ká máa lépa ìtẹ̀síwájú fọ́pọ̀ ire àtòhun tó dára ọmọ Oòduà dìde bọ́ sípò ẹ̀tọ́ rẹ ìwọ ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ ògo adúláwọ̀ àwa ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ ògo adúláwọ̀ èmi ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ ògo adúláwọ̀. Mo kí ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa káàkiri ibi tí ohùn bá dé gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹ ti ṣe mọ̀ níléeṣẹ́ wa tí à ń pè ní Koikimedia in tí a dúró lé lórí àti tá ń béèrè fún kò yí padà ó sì wà níbi tó wà kò ń ṣe tó ń bọ́ sí níjọ́ kan kò dẹ̀ ń ṣe tó máa ń yá ọ̀nà tí ó máa fi yá òun náà ni à ń ṣe lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ yìí láti bá àwọn èèyàn sọ̀rọ̀ káàkiri gbogbo àgbáyé láti bá àwọn ìlú sọ̀rọ̀ káàkiri gbogbo àgbáyé ìdí tí iléeṣẹ́ yìí náà ṣe wà lára àwọn tí ó ń polongo fún an independent republic, independent nation, independent country. Ìgbà wo ló máa bọ́ sí, ìgbà wo ló máa yá, ìgbà wo la máa gbà. These are just questions on the lips of many people. Kò sẹ́ni tó lè sọ pé gbà báyìí precisely ní country yìí máa dé. Kò dẹ̀ sẹ́ni tó lè predict it. But in tí a lè ṣe òun ni pé ká engage ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá àtẹni tó fẹ́ àtẹni tó fẹ́ àwa tí a ti mọ kókó ìdí tá ṣe fẹ́ ká ṣàlàyé lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́ fáwọn tí kò yé àwọn tó dẹ̀ ti yé náà ká jẹ́ kó túbọ̀ yé wọn pé Nàìjíríà ò lè ṣiṣẹ́ kò sí àlàyé tí a lè ṣe lé Nàìjíríà tó máa fi work mo ń wo àwọn tí wọ́n dispute pé Nàìjíríà ṣì máa ní future púpọ̀ nínú wọn náà tá bá add 20 years mọ́ age wọn lénìí nígbà tí a bá wo ìyàwó President Bola Ahmed Tinubu ìyẹn Senator Remi Tinubu, she's 65 years old according to the birthday tí ó ń celebrate. Ẹ bá mi add 20 years mọ́ age ìyàwó Tinubu, she will be 85. Tabarẹ́n tó lè sáré bá mi ṣe maths, year wo gangan ni ó máa bọ́ sí ní ẹ̀yin tí ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ wa lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí. If the president's wife, Senator Remi Tinubu, taba add 20 years more age wọn, when exactly we should be 85? Mama dúró kí ẹ bá mi respond sí yẹn while we continue with the program. Mo kọ́kọ́ lọ kí ẹni tó jẹ́ adarí wa tí a gbà fún, tí a dẹ̀ gbà pé iṣẹ́ tó ń ṣe Ọlọ́run á túbọ̀ kún wọn lẹ́yìn, á dúró tì wọ́n, kò ní fi wọ́n sílẹ̀. A dúpẹ́ fún ọgbọ́n àti ìmọ̀ àti òye tí bàbá náà fi ń bá wa ṣe ìrìn àjò yìí. A dúpẹ́ pé bàbá náà ò gbẹ̀yìn nígbà tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn bàbá kan ti fì sẹ́yìn látara pé kí ìran wa kó dúró. Ẹ ṣé gan ni. Wọ́n ní ìyàwó Tinubu will be 85 years old in 2045. Kẹ́yìn náà add 20 years more age yín, I will be around, give and take. Tàbá wo age èmi náà gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ Yorùbá, gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ ìran ọmọ aládé, mo wá fẹ́ kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń gbọ́ mi lálẹ́ yìí ká jọ ní open mind, ká má fi sentiment sí ọ̀rọ̀ tí àjọ ń bára wa sọ yìí. Tèmi náà bá wọjọ́ orí mi lénìí, gẹ́gẹ́ bí gbogbo yín ṣe mọ̀, àwọn ń ṣe ẹni tí ọjọ́ orí ẹ̀ máa fi pamọ́. As a public figure, people need to know how old you are. Torí kó má di in the next 20 years kí má tún lọ mú ọjọ́ bí mi wá fún yín. Gbogbo eléyìí náà ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ nínú Nàìjíríà pẹ̀lú àwọn tí wọ́n jẹ́ olóṣèlú. Hardly do we know their authentic and original age. Ibẹ̀ kọ́ mo fi lọ. Tá bá wo ọmọ tó bí ní 1978, òun náà ti dàgbà díẹ̀, òun náà ti pé 47. So tèmi náà bá add 20 years mọ́ age mi, torí gbogbo wa máa dàgbà. Senator Remi Bola Tinubu máa dàgbà, á dògbó, àwọn ọmọ àtàwọn ọmọ wá rí wọn. Èmi náà máa dàgbà, ìyá mi á dàgbà sí mi lọ́wọ́, àwọn ọmọ mi àtàwọn ọmọ tá máa bí àti tá ti bí, àwa náà á ní ọmọ láti tọ́jú. So tèmi náà bá add 20 years mọ́ age tèmi náà, I will be close to my 67 years old. Ẹ̀yin náà add the age yín with 20 years and have it open. Níbo ló fẹ́ wà? Níbo ló fẹ́ jẹ́ kí ìran ẹ wà? Tó o bá tẹ̀ wá fẹ́ràn ìran ẹ torí pé ìran ẹ wọ́n ti kàn lábùkù lágbàáyé, ó ti ní stigma, báwọn òyìnbó ṣe present ẹ̀ fún wa, ó ti ní ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ in tí ó ń bí ẹ nínú, àgbọ́ra wáyé, ìdí ti mú wa, oríṣiríṣi láti gbọ́. But níbo ló fẹ́ wà as a person, individual? Ìwọ tó ń gbọ́ mi nísìnyí lẹ́ni 21 September 2025 ní aago 9:00 ó lù, ó kọjá 16 minutes. Níbo gangan ni wọ́n náà fẹ́ wà by 2045, when 20 years will be added to your age? Kò sẹ́ni tó máa kú nínú wa, kò sẹ́ni tí kú máa pa, kò sẹ́ni tí Fúlàní máa attack. So where exactly 20 years gẹ́gẹ́ bí àwa tí a jẹ́ bí ẹni tó ti gbé níta, we will call it 2 decades. 2 decades will be like that. So má fi sentiment ní sí in tá ń sọ nípa àwọn tó ń ṣòṣèlú lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. Think about it in a long term. Think about it in where you want to be. Even tó bá sí nínú Nigeria, even tó bá wà nínú Nigeria, ẹni tó bá pé 85 years old by 2045, tó bá ti ṣèjọba rí, tó ti ní connection, tó bá mismanage, bí ìyàwó President Bola Tinubu, she's likely to have everything. Ẹni tó bá gbé abroad, tó ní access láti wá sílé, tó ń padà, bí èmi náà báyìí, I am not likely to lose anything. Torí mo ní access láti padà sí UK, láti travel. I'm talking about the general well-being of a human being. Ẹni tó wà Nàìjíríà náà, give and take. Tọ́lọ́run bá lọ́rẹ̀ mí ẹ̀, tóun náà bá pé 67 or tó bá pé 85. Analysis èèyàn méjì là ń lò ìyàwó President Bola Tinubu and then Koikimedia. Ìkan pé 85, ìkan pé 67. So whichever the bracket ẹ̀yin náà bá fit in. Níbo ni ìwọ fẹ́ wà within Nigeria? Àbí in the next 20 years, ká máa sọ pé a ti ń develop ju China, Dubai, America, UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Kenya, South Africa. Where exactly do you want to be? These are the questions that we should start asking ourselves. It's not about today. Kò ń ṣe lẹ́ni ni gbogbo tá à ń ṣeré wàhálà lé lórí. Kò ń ṣe torí èní ni bàbá wa Emeritus Professor Adébánjí Akíntóyè ló ṣe ń sọ pé kí ìran Yorùbá, ìran ọmọ aládé, ìran ọmọ Oòduà ká dìde, ká dá dúró, ká gba òmìnira as an independent country. But ṣe ló dàbí pé àwọn kan ìtí ready láti jẹ́ kí journey yẹn kó wà fruitful. Àwọn wo ni gbogbo wa náà la mọ̀ wọ́n within the Southwest today. But in 20 years, ká wá padà sóní tí ó wà lórí oyè lénìí, ìyẹn President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. If we had 20 years, see President Tinubu, Taba add the 20 years with his age. I'm not interested in whatever age. So I'm going with the age. Tí a mọ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí in tí gbogbo wa ti gbọ́. In tí a mọ̀ ni pé the current President Bola Tinubu is 73. That is what I'm going with. So 73, if I had 20 years to his age, he's going to be 93. Future tá wá ń béèrè fún yìí, tí gbogbo wa tá ń fight fún lénìí, tí bàbá Akíntóyè tó jẹ́ 90 plus, tá bá add 20 years sí age Professor Akíntóyè as well, tá bá add 20 more age one, Professor will just be somewhere around 101. Ọlọ́run àtúbọ̀ lọ́rọ̀ ẹ̀mí bàbá. There are many people that have lived conveniently for more than that year, and I have evidence to back that. Ní Olúmọ Rock, ìyá kan wà níbẹ̀, kò ṣe pé ó sọ fún mi, bí àyà yẹn ó dà pé ó ti wá jáde láyé nísìn. Ìyá Olúmọ died at 137 years old. Mo ń wò báyìí lórí Google. She died at 137. So bàbá Akíntóyè ṣe ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ ayé ni. Kọ́lọ̀ tó bọ̀ rẹ̀ ràn ní bàbá yẹn fún wa kó jẹ́ kó sìn wá pẹ́ lórí ìrìn àjò tá gbé dání. Now, let's start asking the question. Àwọn ìbéèrè tí ó nípọn, mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́tí wọlé. I will not start mentioning names. Màá kọ́ ní kálẹ̀, ẹ farabalẹ̀ kẹ́ jókòó, kẹ́ share, because I'm going straight into the broadcast. bàbá 91 ó ń pariwo, ó ń kéde pé kí a ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ kí àwa ìrànmọ́ládé ká lè ní freedom. Bàbá 73 sọ fún wa pé àwọn ń ṣiṣẹ́ lórí bí Nàìjíríà ṣe máa ní progress, bí Nàìjíríà ṣe máa ní lọ síwájú. Two different individuals with two different ideology. The question is, when exactly la máa rí signal pé Nàìjíríà máa ṣiṣẹ́? That question does not need any answer because Nigeria is a failed state. Tá bá padà sọ́dọ̀ emeritus professor, tá bá ní ká béèrè pé ṣé country tí bàbá ń polongo pé kí gbogbo wa ká jọ dáwọ́ bò kí a jọ ṣe kó lè ní result, ṣé a máa rí country yẹn pé ó máa ṣiṣẹ́? Evidence base is that it will work. The reason that is sọ pé ó máa ṣiṣẹ́ òun pé àwọn tí wọ́n mọ̀ pé country tó bá máa ṣiṣẹ́, ìlú tó bá máa work, number one, èdè inú ẹ̀ lẹ máa fi mọ̀, èdè tó bá ń sọ. But it's a shame today that gbogbo pé a fẹ́ dá dúró ká lè wà lórí èdè kan, ṣe la tún wá rí ìjọba President Bola Tinubu tí wá lọ mú èdè lédè, èyí tó jẹ́ èdè tí a ṣe struggle tó ń pè ní English, tí àìtẹ́ tí lè communicate dáadáa torí kò ń ṣe wa la gbọ́ English, torí kò ń ṣe èdè wa, èdè tí Britain fún wa nìyẹn. Ó wá ṣe ní láàánú pé President Bola Tinubu tún wá lọ mú China pé ká tún wá máa sọ Chinese nínú Nigeria. I don't know the reason behind it, but what I know is that there is still an agenda. Agenda ẹni pé èdè Yorùbá, ìran Yorùbá, ilẹ̀ Yorùbá wants to be taken away from us. Ẹgbọ́n mi lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí. The language, the people, the land, wọ́n fẹ́ gbà kúrò lọ́wọ́ wa. Why tí ó ṣe jẹ́ pé Chinese tó wà lára ń ta máa lọ kọ́ as a language? Kí ló fà á? Kí ni reason ẹ̀? Àwọn wo ni wọ́n plan ẹ̀? Tí a tó wọnú ètò lọ, this month is a very important month in the history of mankind. Òun ló máa ń pè ní the month of September, tí gbogbo àgbáyé káàkiri tó máa assemble síbí kan tó ń pè ní United Nations. Ẹ má tí lọ, I will come back to that because this month is bringing out a lot. Kí làwọn yẹn ṣe tó fi débí báyìí? Ìyẹn ìlú kan tó ń pè ní Palestinian, tí many countries today have now recognized them as a state. That means pé wọ́n lè bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí operate nínú ìlú yẹn, even though ìlú wọn wà nínú ogun pẹ̀lú Israel right now. I'll come back to that. Torí ibẹ̀ gangan ni a sì fi lọ. But mo kàn fẹ́ gbé yín dé some of the events that has unfolded in the last couple of weeks. Mo mọ̀ pé àwọn staff wa ti educate yín lórí ẹ̀. But mo mọ̀ pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ yín náà ń dúró pé ẹ fẹ́ gbọ́ kí lèmi náà máa sọ lé lórí. But mo fẹ́ pẹ́ lórí ẹ̀ because I want to move swiftly to the reason why we are sitting here. Òun ni self-determination. Now, let's go back and ask, kí ni nǹkan tí federal government under the leadership of President Bola Tinubu, kí ni nǹkan tó rí tó fi di pé wọ́n ní kó add the Chinese language sí secondary school, senior secondary school across Nigeria? Let's read quickly and then I would come back to us. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ti darapọ̀ mọ́ wa. Bí mo ṣe ń kí Emeritus Professor Akintoye, mo kí àwọn gbákejì wọn méjèèjì, mo lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ mo kí bàbá wa ọmọ Adéyẹmọ Ìgbòho Òòṣà, kí Ọlọ́run Elédùmarè kó jẹ́ kí a rí freedom wọn gbà láìpẹ́ láì jìnnà àti ìtọ́ tún béèrè fún lórí ibi tí owó wọn wà nínú bank kí gbogbo ẹ̀ náà kó lè ní ìyànjú ní kíákíá. So mo kí olóyè Ìgbòho Òòṣà. Mo wá kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ jẹ́ olólùfẹ́ movement tí a gbé dání. Mo bá Fúlàní sọ̀rọ̀, mo bá Ìgbò sọ̀rọ̀, mo bá Hausa sọ̀rọ̀. Ìwọ tó bá jẹ́ ọmọ Oòduà, ọmọ Yorùbá ni mo bá sọ̀rọ̀. Ìwọ tó bá ń ṣọmọ Oòduà, o ní right láti sọ pé ó fẹ́ Yorùbá nation, but a máa force sínú ẹ̀ torí pé ilẹ̀ Oòduà ti ń bẹ, ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ti exist before the fraudulent Nigeria was created by Britain. Now, let's go back to the Chinese language. Tí wọ́n ní kó bẹ̀rẹ̀, ká kọ́ ká briefly, because we're working with time. Chinese language added to senior secondary curriculum, educational secretary. Punch newspaper, 16th of September, 2025. The first thing you want to find out is Tani Educational Secretary Nigeria. Who is that Educational Secretary of Nigeria? Leni. The permanent secretary of the Federal Ministry of Education in Nigeria is Mr. Abel Olumuyiwa Enitan. Kò ń ṣe Fulani, kò ń ṣe Igbo, kò ń ṣe Hausa, but òun ni secretary. But Tani Minister for Education. Let's look at it quickly. Minister for Education in Nigeria under Tinubu's government. Again, the Minister for Education, Dr. Maruf Olatunji Alawusa, who was appointed by President Bola Tinubu in October 2024. He holds a position within President Tinubu administration, succeeding Professor Tai Mama. Now, these are very important individuals that we need to ask the question. Tinubu will be the last phase. Bóyá àwọn eléyìí ń ṣiṣẹ́ fúnra wọn, maybe they are working on behalf of the government. But tá bá ní ká lọ wo ẹni tí mo dárúkọ tán nísìn, that is the minister. The minister has a big role, a big portfolio in any government, especially in the government. Kí ni agenda Dr. Maruf Olatunji Alawusa lórí pé kí a lọ kọ́ èdè tí kò ń ṣe èdè wa ní secondary school? Kí ni reason ẹ̀? Kí ló fà á? Níbo ni wọ́n ti jọ jókòó? Kí ni nǹkan tó sọ? This is his face, as you can see, for those of you that might not recognize him. That is the face. Is the 31st Minister of Education, Ọmọ Yorùbá ni. So I would have loved if he was a Fulani, then a mọ̀ pé bóyá agenda kan wà. Mo sọ fún wa pé we are dealing with many things within the movement. Many things that might be very simple, but many things that can also bring chaos, and chaos that might not be resolved if we do not exit Nigeria now. Now that you read arákùnrin gbogbo wa ti mọ ẹni tó jẹ́, I want to bring his face properly so that ẹni tó jẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá lẹ́ni bí a lè ṣe kẹ́ mọ̀ wọ́n àbí kẹ́ láwọn ọ̀rẹ́ tó súnmọ́ wọn, bí ẹ lè bá wa béèrè lọ́wọ́ Dr. Tunji Alawusa tó jẹ́ Education Minister lábẹ́ President Bola Tinubu, pé kí ni wọ́n rò, kí ni wọ́n rí, kí ló fà á, kí ni nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ tó fi di pé ojú wọn lélẹ̀ lẹ́wọ́ lórí screen tí a fi máa sọ Chinese ní part of the curriculum nínú Nigeria. I'm sure he would have an answer. President Bola Tinubu, like I said, appointed him only last year. Ó ṣe máa pé ọdún kan ní October next month. President Tinubu announced a change of guard in his administration. This was a cabinet shakeup led to the collapse of some ministers. While some ministers lost out in the exercise, Dr. Tunji Alausa, the Honorable Minister of State for Health and Wealth for State, Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, was announced and given a new portfolio. Kí ni ẹni tó ń ṣe health tó wá move láti health àti social welfare, because I think that is what we need right now. Many of our èèyàn wa ìyà ń jẹ wọ́n. Many of our èèyàn wa wọ́n wà in very there's a lot of suffering going on for our people, and we will have loved him to remain in that position of health, welfare, because these are the key areas to mú ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn wa kan suffer lẹ́nìí, because we know the health system in Nigeria has been destroyed. I don't want to go into it. Social welfare, we know what it means. Why was it moved? But ká kọ́kọ́ béèrè pé, is it knowledgeable in this portfolio now? Abi knowledgeable in the previous portfolio? Let's look at his record. Dr. Tunji Alausa, who holds a 1993 Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery from the University of Lagos and was rated in 2007 up to 2012 one of America's best physicians. We take over from Professor Tai Mama. Now, I am bringing it from another angle. We have somebody like this, Egbowa, Babawa, Onkuwa, well-learned, well-respected physician, according to the record that we are hearing. He studied very well, like many Yoruba people have studied, as the best in Nigeria. There's no doubt about it. Ẹ má gbọ́n táwọn ìyàtọ̀ kó bá ń sọ fún yín, àwọn òyìnbó gan mọ̀ ipa tí bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀ kó nípa ọ̀rọ̀ bí ìran wa tó fi di pé wọ́n gba independent. Dr. Tunji, like I said, obtained his Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery from the University of Lagos in 1993. That was gbogbo time Abiola tí wàhálà ń ṣẹlẹ̀, and has since become a board-certified nephrologist. Àwọn ìbò ńláńlá báyìí, àwa máa wá ní the dictionary. Just to break it down, mo kàn fẹ́ kí a wo record ẹni yìí. Tá bá sọ pé a nephrologist is a medical doctor who specializes in diagnosing and treating conditions that affect the kidney. Kí lẹni tó fẹ́ fix kidney tún ní ṣe pẹ̀lú education? For me, it shows that this government does not know what it's doing. It's a fact. Because you have moved somebody that understands the kidney problem of Nigeria. Òróró tó ń ṣe Nigeria, àìsàn tó ń ṣe Nigeria tó ti wà lórí dialysis, machine yẹn gan ó wà dysfunction. Ẹ wá ṣe move ẹni yẹn lọ sí education. Ẹ wá expect carry result in Latin by under 1 year. They are experts in renal health, kidney health, and can manage chronic kidney disease. Iṣẹ́ tí doctor yìí mọ̀ nìyẹn. This is what he's good at. But all of a sudden, President Bola Tinubu has moved him from his position as health and welfare to education. And now, nígbà tí bàbá ìdí education, what he can do and what he understand is exactly what he's doing. What does he understand? He has decided to give Yoruba people, àwa tá ṣì ń sọ pé understand the English, àwa tá ṣì ń complain nípa èdè ni wọ́n fi ń gba ìlú. Ṣé kò ń ṣe pé China ti gba Nigeria tán? Wọ́n kàn pretend fún wa. I have asked many questions, but I seem not to get answer, because àwọn tó fẹ́ fún wa answer when àwọn very structure, àwọn tó fẹ́ fún one dispel Yoruba nation. My question now to, because nígbà tí gbọ́ Chinese, when tó wà behind it, Who actually is behind this problem that we are seeing today? There is only one person that is behind it, and that is the Minister for Education. But the Minister for Education is not working on his own. He's also working on behalf of somebody who is also the person, President Bola Tinubu, Yoruba láwọn méjèèjì. Mo wá ń bi gbogbo èèyàn ọmọ Oòduà ká tó lọ sí the next phase of this broadcast. Mo wá ń bi gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá káàkiri gbogbo àgbáyé kó bá wa béèrè lọ́wọ́ àwọn méjèèjì tí a dárúkọ yìí, tá a fi tọ̀wọ̀tọ̀wọ̀ dárúkọ wọn, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu àti Dr. Tunji Alausa. Kí ni reason tí Chinese has been added to our curriculum in the secondary school? That means pé tá bá wà nínú Nigeria under the leadership of President Bola Tinubu, and we can be told that they can start Chinese language. What about it, Tinubu bá lọ as the president? What more will be added? Ṣé kò ṣe pé a tún máa gbé language mi náà wá tó máa pè ní fúdèdè? Because àwọn Fúlàní nísìn, I don't think they've challenged or disputed Tinubu on this Chinese. Ṣé táwọn náà bá dé, kò ṣe pé àwọn náà máa sọ pé àwọn náà fẹ́ fúdèdè kó add them more. As a president, they'll be able to do anything. I hope a lot of you, mo kí màmá mi kálẹ̀ ẹ̀ka bọ̀mà, mo kí gbogbo ẹni tẹ́ wà lórí ètò náà. I am now telling you that there is an agenda somewhere. I don't know what that agenda is. I cannot defend what I don't know, but I want us to put it on record that àwa jáde àbèrè lọ́wọ́ àwọn Yorùbá méjèèjì. One is the president, one is the Minister of Education. What is the reason behind this change of language in our schools, not only in the north, but also in the southwest part of Nigeria? And I'm just going to read quickly because of the time to move to the next phase of the broadcast. Unoni, the Chinese language, Mandarin, has officially been included as one of the foreign languages to be taught in senior secondary schools across Nigeria, following a recent review of the national curriculum. This announcement was made on Tuesday by the Secretary of Education for the Federal Capital Territory, Dr. Dalami Ayo, during the inauguration of the 14th Chinese corner at Government Secondary School, Tundu Wada, Abuja. The Chinese corner is an educational and cultural center sponsored by China Civil Engineer Construction Corporation as part of its corporate social responsibility. May I inform you that in a recent review of our curriculum, the Chinese language has been selected as one of the international languages to offer in the senior secondary school. I'll leave you all to digest that, as that is the first stage of this broadcast. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI. This is Koikimedia, bringing the world closer to our doorsteps. Koto dipa ma wọnú the next part of the program lọ quickly. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ti darapọ̀ mọ́ wa pé ẹ káalẹ́ láti Azeez Badesire, mo kí Tony Ages, mo kí ìyá wa Adéjọkẹ́ Adédàpọ̀ tí mo fi tọ̀wọ̀tọ̀wọ̀ dárúkọ. Mo lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ mo kí ìyá wa Princess Adébímpé Awoniyi grandma, mo fi tọ̀wọ̀tọ̀wọ̀ dárúkọ yín. Big Creative TV show, mo kí yín. Torí tí bá ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ the next one, I will not be able to start mentioning your names as well. Mo kí bàbá wa Kenny Ganiu, mo kí Allen Condi. Only what are we doing to gain? What are we doing to gain with Chinese language? I wish I know. Mo kí ìyá mi àǹtí mi dáadáa Títílọlá Shaw tí mo fi tọ̀wọ̀tọ̀wọ̀ dárúkọ. Billy Ọládélé, mo kí ẹ̀yin tẹ́tí darapọ̀ wọn náà lórí TikTok, lórí Instagram. MSK81, good evening and welcome. Otojo Meta, just like I said, I have my own things to deal with. There's nothing wrong if you don't see me on the live show. It's not compulsory that I have to be live every day. My staff are coming out on a daily basis, probably maybe not on TikTok and Instagram, but they're already Facebook and YouTube. they are representing Koikimedia. That means they are working as instructed. So whether I am live or not, whether I need to be on the live show or not, I also have things I have to deal with that are not just Yoruba Nation. I am dealing with mine just like you are dealing with yours. So that Yoruba Nation. No, you have what you are dealing with. Yoruba Nation in day 101 in the Yoruba Nation course and the quest. Moki àbúrò mi dáadáa ìtùnú Banki Grammar Banki gbogbo àwọn tí ó ń bẹ ní Ogun State. Moki Mr. Lekan Oladipupo. Mo lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ mo kí Mr. Olamilekan Ọpẹ́ ẹ̀kan náà staff wa nìyẹn. Fasis Ìdòwú mo kí yín. Mo kí bàbá wa Adéwálé Adékọ̀yà. Mo kí Prince Adébáyọ̀ Shitu. Adams Olamilekan. Mo kí ẹ̀yin tẹ́tí wà lórí Twitter space. Yoruba Freedom. Chidoke, I believe that's a Biafra. Asha Ola, I think that is Asha Ọlọ́run Elédùà. Mo kí ẹ̀yin náà ẹ ṣé gan ni mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ti wà lórí ètò àtẹ̀ntí mo dárúkọ Oh Bank, thank you so much. If you're new to the platform, all we discuss here is the dissolution of Nigeria. I am not interested in why we should be one, why we should stick together, why we should dissolve is the reason why we are sitting here on a daily basis. So if it's something that you understand, you can see it. If it's something that you don't understand, you can walk out of the broadcast. I have the right not to read your comments, and I have the right to block you. I have the right to kick you out. This is my platform. Moshe Egbomi Rugi Giant, thank you for the love. Moki Grandma Morimbe Filesha Ajagbe, Moki Said Fatai. Happy Sunday once again. In the next 3-4 minutes, I'll be going straight to the next part of the broadcast. Google broadcast here will be under 2 hours. I'm not sitting here for 3 hours. I've done 5 hours, 6 hours in the past. Whatever I say now has been said, but with new dimension, especially development are coming around the globe. The world is big. The world is not going to wait for you. No, the world moves on even when you are dead. Okay? So the life doesn't stop. So while we are on this earth, we protect, we defend, and make sure that our land, our language, and our people will be protected. I am not your governor. I am not your representatives. I am not the one to come and cry. Governor, Igboho is not coming to help anybody. You should first ask the government to let him be free. And to be free, Igboho, as we speak right now, is still not yet free. So gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń pariwo Koiki ẹ sọ fún chief kó wá ràn wá lọ́wọ́ kó wá gbà wá ẹ sọ fún chief kó má lọ sí ẹwọ́ lálàá wọ́n lálàá bá lálàá bá má lálàá. Chief will decide what he wants to do at the appropriate time. I am a spokesman, but he has his own mind. He has his own thoughts of what is happening in Yoruba land. Òun nìkan kọ́ lọ́mọ Yorùbá kò jẹ gbèsè kò dẹ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ wá dáràn torí pé ó fẹ́ gbà wá sílẹ̀. And we will continue to protect him. We will continue to be there for him. As a media, I have told him that it does not matter whether I'm a spokesman or I'm not a spokesman. He would have my loyalty to the end. Intama fi dalẹ̀ ara wa Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kó gba wájú tèmi kọjá. So ẹ̀yin lẹ máa dalẹ̀ torí pé ọ̀dàlẹ̀ ló pọ̀ jù láàrin gbogbo àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá. So tẹ́ ń pé kó wá gbà yín ìgbà tá à ń pariwo ẹlẹ́nà àti chief la fi dá wàhálà sílẹ̀. Wàhálà dẹ̀ ti dé nísìn ká yanjú ẹ̀. Ìtẹ̀bá lè yanjú kẹ́ yanjú ẹ̀. So there are many things that you can do until chief thinks that okay, bóyá wọ́n need the support. For now, I don't think we're going to put chief in any danger. And if he says he wants to go, he will go. Kò sẹ́ni tó máa stop ẹ̀. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni, ẹni máa kú ló máa kú, ẹni máa yè mo máa yè ni. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. And whenever he's ready, I will always be there with him. Àfi tí bá ní any reason, torí mo ní family láti lọ padà bá ní London. I've been around now in Africa. Tẹ́ bá calculate ìgbà tẹ́tí rí mi tí mo ní mo wà l'Africa. I'm still in Africa, but I have family as well. Mo ní láti lọ sí London at some point. Or restrict me kí n má wọlé, ìwọ ló máa lọ wá visa tó máa fi jápa. Tó bá lè jápa kó jápa, tó bá dé lè jápa kó má jápa. But one thing is, ilẹ̀ wa will be protected and will be defended. Mo kí brother mi Olamide. So just 3 minutes, in 50 minutes, I'm going to start the next one because 2 hours to the dot, I'm going to end this broadcast. Moki, brother me, Aziz Shakiru, Moki Yawa, Aji Olokun for the great work she's doing. Moki Bugba Media as well. I don't have to be mentioning names. Mine is an independent platform. It does not matter whatever I say here. What I say here is my view on this Yoruba nation. I know what is happening. I know at least what is happening. We don't need to tell you everything. But this month is the month of diplomacy. This is diplomacy. Diplomacy. Diplomacy will be part of this Yoruba nation. It does not matter what is body, problem. The world is Americans suffer Afghanistan. Background. I don't think you know what background is. It's one of the American air base. TikTok. Àwọn Afghanistan ti dá náà padà wọ́n náà nǹkan ló ní ilẹ̀ wa ní bíbá tó bá dẹ̀ ló fẹ́ wá gbà má bọ̀ a defeat yín after 20 years America kó gbàngbára wọn kúrò ní Afghanistan Fúlàní ò ní kúrò lórí ilẹ̀ yín they are ready to take the land and they will use many methods kò ń ṣe Fúlàní tẹ́ ń rí tó ń negotiate tó ń gbé bọn tán no mo sọ fún yín Dangote is a Fúlàní BU is a Fúlàní wọ́n pọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ àtẹ̀tí ráwọn ọmọ Yorùbá tó ń support wọn Abari gbogbo àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá tó ń support àtàwọn ọmọ Igbo there is an agenda and that agenda is real bá ní kò rí problem tẹni kọ́ nìyẹn so like I said whether mo kí brother mi Daniel Adeyemi mo kí gbẹ̀ntara London mo kẹ́yìn mo kí Owóṣeni TV Martins mo kí gbogbo àwọn Koikimedia staff for the great work you're doing owó ni the most important part I have shared a couple of videos in the last couple of days. Terrorists in Starlink. I don't think some of you understand what they're doing. I want to bypass MTN. Want to bypass Airtel. Táwa bá wá sọ pé need owó. Ẹ náà need owó. Kí la fẹ́ fowó ṣe? Kí la fẹ́ fowó ṣe? Terrorists have enough money to fight and buy many of you. Yes. Bọ̀bọ̀ tẹ̀rí tó gbé weapons síwájú yẹn. Let's start the second phase of the recording. So mo fẹ́ kí lè wọnú recording me as well. Koikimedia bringing the world closer to your doorstep. Èní 21/9/2025. Aago mẹ́wàá fi lọ lùbọ̀ ó kù ìṣẹ́jú méjìlá. That's 12 minutes to 12. Àwa máa ní 21:48. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa. Mo kí màmá mi lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí ẹ kú rọ́jú. I'll be back in London very soon. Màá tẹ̀ wá jẹ tí bá ti jẹ tìyàwó mi màá tó wá sáré lọ jẹ tọ̀dọ̀ tí yín náà torí oúnjẹ grandma oúnjẹ màmá yàn máa ó ní bó ṣe máa ń ṣe lára yàn. I've missed her food just like I've missed my children. Àwọn ọmọ mi ti ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ pé báwo mo fẹ́ dé? Mo ní máa dé ìgbà tí máa dé kò ní pẹ́ mọ́. Mo kí Aziz Badeshere for the love and the support. Mo wá kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ dúró tì wá tó jẹ́ pé ẹ̀yin ò wò pé a ṣe program. Mo kí bàbá mi Ṣógbuyì. You continue that your support. Ní láti ṣe máa pariwo fáwọn àwọn tí mọ tó tọ́ tó yẹ. Ẹlòmíì mọ tó tọ́ tó yẹ bọ̀ kò fẹ́ ṣe. Ṣé rí terrorist ẹ̀ rí yẹn? They are working with Starlink. Àwọn lo MTN, wọ́n lo Airtel táwa ń lò yìí àti Glo àti gbogbo other network. Àwọn tí ń lo satellite. And what that means is that they have bypassed your security network. That's why they can operate freely within Nigeria, post things on TikTok, post things on Facebook, and communicate with the outside world. We know the agenda is real, but ẹ̀yin lẹ sọ pé agenda is real. So lè expect kí olóyè kó kọ́ máa pa gidi máa bọ̀ wọnú Nàìjíríà nígbà tí wọ́n ti fún ní freedom ẹ̀. He would love to, tó bá gba freedom ẹ̀, Adé Kwara, Adé Kogi, Adé gbogbo bí tẹ́ǹsán yẹn. But for now, he doesn't have his freedom. There's little he can do. So mo kí gbogbo wa. Mo kí ẹ̀gbọ́n mi Gani Alágbàlá. I've not spoken to you today, but I know today is your birthday. Kémi nígbà birthday mi anyway. Dẹ̀ lè sọ pé ẹ̀gbọ́n nígbà tí mo ṣe birthday, but èmi kí ẹ̀gbọ́n mi dáadáa. Àwọn ni olùdarí Ìfẹ́lódùn tó jẹ́ president wa lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. Àkí gbogbo ẹgbẹ́ láì fẹgbẹ́ kankan sílẹ̀. Now, let's come back quickly because like I said, 2 hours, I'm going to end this broadcast. But the last 10 minutes, I have to feel brazy, bóyá ẹ fún wa ní support gẹ́gẹ́ bí a ṣe máa ń béèrè. Now, mo kí lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí olóyè Adéyẹmọ Ìgbòho. Mo kí gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n lọ́tún lósì to travel to come and see you is quite expensive. Ọbẹ̀ Elédùmarè á wà pẹ̀lú gbogbo wa. Mo kí gbogbo àwọn ìyá wa náà tí wọ́n ń ṣiṣẹ́ takuntakun láì yọ ẹnìkankan sílẹ̀. Now, let's come back quickly. Month Hawaii, I have told you from September 1st is a very, very important month. Oṣù tó wà important ni. Oṣù yìí gan ló yẹ kí a máa ṣe wàhálà jù. Ẹ ṣé gan ni bàbá wa lórí TikTok. oṣù tá wà yìí tó bá jẹ́ pé a fẹ́ gba country oṣù yìí gan ló yẹ ká invest jù oṣù yìí gan ló yẹ ká máa béèrè pé Koiki kí èèlò gan ló fẹ́ ká sponsor ẹ lọ America. Yes, this is the month, but kò ń ṣe month táwa rò pé nǹkan tó important because whatever the reason we don't think is important, that's fine. Mo kí ẹ brother mi Yemi Fatuki mo ní lè dárúkọ mọ́ mo ti wọnú program recording but mo kí bishop náà lẹ́ǹkan ṣe kó àdúró tí ẹ kú gbogbo gbà. Oṣù táwa yìí oṣù tó jẹ́ the most important month for engagement with diplomacy and diplomat. Oṣù tí ẹni tó wà nílùú tó wà wàá máa wá bó ṣe fẹ́ bá representative yẹn sọ̀rọ̀ on behalf of Yoruba people tá a bá tẹ̀ ránṣẹ́. It does not matter. You can communicate. No matter how you say it. I saw the Biafra have engagement on the 18th, if I'm right. Àwọn Biafra, yes. On the 18th, they were at the Capitol Hill, l'America. And they don't follow Biafra. Does not matter which side of the Biafra you follow. I don't care. But one thing is that they are pushing their message to the global world. Most importantly, ní America, níbi tí àwọn èèyàn wọn wà. There was a lot of diplomacy ní month yìí tí wọ́n lọ rí àwọn Senate láti lobby láti lọ béèrè fún ẹ̀tọ́ wọn. And I want to show us the screen because this is a month of diplomacy. Oṣù yìí kò ń ṣe oṣù tíyàn máa sùn. Oṣù tíyàn máa rọjú sílẹ̀ láti fẹ́ mọ̀ kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀. Torí pé mẹ́wàá ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lẹ́yìn ayé tá wà lẹ́nìí ibi tó bá mọ̀ sí ni. But tó bá wà lórí platform yìí, you're likely not to lose a lot. Let me take you quickly. Sọ́dọ̀ àwọn Biafra. Ká tó wá move forward. How they got it, I don't know. But I know these are not cheap. The 18th, I saw the advert that they will be there engaging and doing a lot of discussion. Whether aside they can support no Biafra, because it whether or disputes, it doesn't matter. They are still moving forward. So in that world, Lori screen, right now, the history we long waited for is here. Our freedom is our right. First ever U.S. congressional briefing on Biafra. First ever of their briefing on Biafra. Mr. Rubin, 1971, a senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. It is good to see Biafra represented in Washington, D.C. Sorry, not Capitol Hill, Washington, D.C. Unlike in Finland, where we are going to arrest descendants. What you are looking at, I'm not going to play the video. Sorry, Twitter. But what you are looking right now is that they had engagement inside Washington, D.C. And that shows that a diplomacy and work, freedom, comes in different dimensions. They've made history. But I want to bring us back to some of the development that is happening very fast. And they are happening at a very fast pace. Owuni issue Palestinian and the world. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty. I'm not going to go straight to it that as of today, to get 21/09/2025, ìlú mẹ́rin sọ pé àwọn accept àwọn gbà pé kí Palestinian become a state. Ìlú mẹ́rin ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀. ẹ farabalẹ̀ kẹ́ gbọ́ mi. Ìlú mẹ́rin wọ́n náà wọ́n gbà pé Palestinian ó gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ state. Àwọn wo nílùú náà àti pé kí ló fà á, kí nìkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ táwọn ìlú yìí fi accept pé kí Palestinian the country. Kí nìkan tó rí? Ṣé ẹ̀mí tó ti sùn lọ ní Palestinian lálẹ́ yìí pẹ̀lú àwọn tí wọ́n ti pa ló fà á, àbí kí ni ìdí tí àwọn ìlú yìí ṣe dìde? A mọ̀ pé àwọn ìlú yẹn ti ń sọ pé àwọn máa gbà pé kí Palestinian the country, but more than 100 years after the Biafra Declaration and 77 years after the creation of Israel in the British mandate of Palestinian, UK has now formally recognized Palestinian as a state. What a fast development that is happening in the Middle East. Mo fẹ́ kí bí ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ yìí, mo fẹ́ kí ẹ̀mí tí yín máa padà sí how Nigeria was made in 1914. Ó ti pé 111 years or thereabout. But at what push, at what cost ni Britain máa fi padà lè sọ pé àwọn recognize Yorùbá, Biafra, Hausa àtàwọn ẹ̀yà tó kù ọ̀dádúró? At what point? Kí lẹ̀yin rò pé ó lè ṣẹlẹ̀ before they can accept to recognize us as a state? We know this is one of the most difficult questions tí many people fẹ́ mọ̀. Kí ni àwọn ẹ̀yà tó wà ní Nàìjíríà yìí? Stage wo ló máa dé for us to be recognized? These are the flags of the countries: Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom. Flag Canada lẹ́ ń wò yìí. Flag Australia òun lẹ́ ń wò yìí. And this is the British Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. Today, to revive the hope of peace for the Palestinians and Israel and its two-state solution, the United Kingdom to join in Nigeria papọ̀ has now formally recognized the state of Palestine. What a very fast-moving development in the global world today. What does it mean? The UK formally recognized the state of Palestine. These are the joint statement coming from Australia, and that's the Palestinian flag. Ìbéèrè tèmi náà wá ń bi ẹ̀yin tí a jọ jẹ́ Oòduà nation, Yorùbá nation, tí a fẹ́ dá dúró gẹ́gẹ́ bí orílẹ̀-èdè. At what point do you think that we can be recognized? We are doing, and we are still doing, everything possibly best within the confinement of the rules of engagement. Láti make sure pé the right and the quest of our people can be respected. And that takes me back to October last year. Picture lẹ́yìn níwájú yín, when Chief Dr. Sunday Igboho, including myself, Prophet Ológunolúwa, ẹ bá ń rí Igboho ní gbogbo ibi tá a ti lọ sọ́dọ̀ àwọn ọba, Ológunolúwa ló máa ń wà lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ wọn. Èmi á wà ní either a máa jọ ń dúró, a máa fún ní guiding, protected. But nígbà tá a lọ, Ológunolúwa flew from America as the youth diaspora wing of the Yoruba nation. Tabade to sọ nípa mega rally. These are the people that are sponsoring most of. Pé wọ́n kọ́kọ́ máa ṣe rally ní that same Washington DC. Àdúpẹ́ fáwọn mega rally àti Ológunlúwa. Àtàwọn tí wọ́n jẹ́ crew wọn àti Ìlànà àti all those. It flew down. Gbedu Leri to kickstart from the right hand side. Olugbedu magazine. Some of you know him on the TikTok. Ìyá Alájà Adéyẹyè. Gbogbo tí ẹ rí tá máa ń lò yìí. And apart from that, he has invested everything pé kí ìran ẹ̀ lè ní àṣeyọrí lórí Yorùbá nation. Ìyá wa tẹ̀lé wa lọ. Fatai Ogunribido tó bá ní ẹni tó kọ́kọ́ lè sọ pé American embassy ní UK sọ fáwọn pé Nigeria kò ń ṣe country mọ́, but àwa là ń renew ẹ̀ every year àbí every 4 years. He was in a meeting, very, very exclusive meeting at the American embassy many years back. Tó sọ fún wọn clearly pé àwa la lọ renew Nigeria torí ìgbò ta lọ vote. Many of you might not know this. Fatai Ogunribido was privileged in that meeting. A very staunch, strong supporter of Yoruba nation. There's no doubt. Gbogbo blood ẹ̀ pátápátá látòkè délẹ̀ tẹ́ bá jí tẹ́ bá ní kó dìde Yoruba nation ni, Oòduà nation, whatever you want to call it. He was also with us. Then the last woman is the vice president of the Felodun Àpapọ̀ Lẹ́nì, tí a mọ̀ sí Kentos Abebi. Has a very big shop in Manchester, but is investing everything she has because gbogbo oúnjẹ tí wọ́n ń tà náà ní Manchester tó wá láti Nigeria, Southwest ní gbogbo ẹ̀ tí ń wá, bó kò bá dá tó bá jẹ́ pé a bá ní country tiwa, púpọ̀ nu wa tí à ń struggle nílé tá a ríṣẹ́. These are the many jobs. I can give you their name because they are a business operating in the UK. And I'm one time their brand ambassador, Oluolu. Google it. I was one time the ambassador of Oluolu in the United Kingdom. Plantain crisps, Oluolu in the UK, should be produced in Nigeria, but we'll produce a lot in Nigeria. I will not tell you where they're producing it from, but it's not produced from Nigeria. And I know that they are bringing in nothing less than 4 containers every month. 40 foot, loaded with different varieties of Oluolu plantain crisps. Good business operating in the UK. Ẹ̀yin tí ẹ níṣẹ́ nílé, ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ní iṣẹ́ tẹ́ ń ṣe. These are the jobs that these kind of businesses would have created in Nigeria, mostly in the Southwest anyway, because a ní ilẹ̀ láti fi gbin ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀. So all we need to do is ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ mélòó la máa gbìn tó máa fún wa ní production plantain crisps tó máa di export. Kò ń ṣe plantain crisps nìkan ló ń tà, wọ́n ń ta epo, wọ́n ń ta pounded yam. But I am very in the knowledge that their plantain crisps is not produced in Nigeria. It can. There's no reason why they produce in Nigeria. Kódà tó bá tẹ̀ jẹ́ pé a máa lọ máa kó ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ wá tó àmì ọ̀nà ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ inú Nigeria ni. But I'm not here for that. Mo kàn fẹ́ kẹ́ mọ̀ pé the month of diplomacy la wà yìí. And if we continue on the pace of what we are doing, the question is, when would Britain recognize Yoruba people on their right to the freedom? When? Ó máa pé 1 year exactly, the next month, tí Olóyè wá deliver letter fún the British Prime Minister. Pé àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá a fẹ́ dá dúró, bàbá wa Emeritus Professor Akintoye wọ́n gbé Ìgbòho dìde, flew into the UK, flew into London, had a fantastic rally from the BBC. Títí dọ̀la, the BBC refused to broadcast any of our image. But the same Yoruba people are defending the same BBC Yoruba nílé. You can tell that we have problems. But like I always say, ẹni tó mọ̀, I'm not defending tí kò mọ̀. The BBC is not for us. BBC is part of the British agenda. Everybody knows that. But what led to the British recognizing the Palestinian state? I think, this is my opinion, I might be wrong, but this is my personal opinion. I think because they've now realized that many people have died in Palestine and their hands are now tied. They have no other choice than to accept the truth. There might be other reasons. My question now is, èèyàn mélòó ló máa kú nínú Southwest? I'm talking about Southwest now. Àti mọ̀ pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn ti kú nínú Nigeria, but èèyàn mélòó ló túbọ̀ máa kú sí before Britain accept to recognize? They are not going to give us a country. Don't get me wrong. Tabandro máa fún wa ní country. They are not going to give us a country because àwọn eléyìí náà kò recognize ni, kò ṣe pé wọ́n fún wọn ní country yẹn. Àwọn recognize pé country ni wọ́n. But ní ibi tó wà yẹn, ní region tó wà yẹn, wọ́n ní operate because Israel ò ní jẹ́ kó operate. Israel ti jáde. I'm not going to go into all that. I have posted that. You can go on my Facebook and read all that. Israel ti jáde lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ pé kò sí tó jọ. Àwọn ò ní ever gbà pé kí Palestinian dá dúró gẹ́gẹ́ bí country. But in tèmi kàn fẹ́ fàyọ ńbẹ̀ ni pé at what point should we expect Australia, Canada, Britain, and many countries that have given Palestinian a recognition that is very, very unique and important, especially when by this week, all countries around the world will be traveling to the United Nations General Assembly that is going to take place this week. Very, very important week for the UN General Assembly. This is the time that pressure has worked, but at what cost? Is it at the cost of lives or at the cost of what? Ṣé ó dìgbà tí Fúlàní bá pa gbogbo wa tán tó invade wa, the world will accept that Nigeria needs to be divided? Because Nigeria is a failed state. I don't have to go into all the analysis about failed state. I've done that already. I've just decided to use that topic. Failed state. While Nigeria's fragile democracy is facing an uncertain future, there's no future about it. But it is the interest of everybody to accept the truth that this country failed and it is not likely to prosper. So as the UN General Assembly is about to kickstart this week, and with many atrocities happening across Nigeria, should we just accept that? Kò ń ṣe fault àwa pé àìtí fẹ́ jẹ́ kí Nigeria kó pín. We want Nigeria to break so that we can have a better future. But there seems to be many countries backing Nigeria today in the international world that doesn't want Nigeria to break. And that means it will be very difficult for you to just sit on social media and say, Nigeria, go mapin, bye, Nigeria. No, that is just for educational purpose and for engagement. But we must think about how soon do we want the dissolution of Nigeria? Do we want it now? And like I said, do we want it after Tinubu is 93 years old, Babakito is 101 years old, Koikimedia is 67 years old, or Remi Tinubu is 85 years old? That's 20 years from now. If care is not taken, you will run Nigeria again for 20 years. Yes, if care is not taken. And the reason why I said so is because Tabak Padaseyi, from what Britain said in these, many things have been coming out from the British government regarding this. If I take you back and give you my screen again, it has taken many years before they accept to just recognize Palestinian as a state. It has taken 110 years now. To wọ́n sọ fún wa pé amalgamation yẹn tó bá work ká continue, but tó bá mẹ́hẹ ká kólúkálukú máa lọ. But one thing is that more than 100 years after the Balfour Declaration and 77 years after the creation of Israel, Britain ṣe wá accept láti jẹ́ kí àwọn recognize the Palestinian. That's why I said 20 years. But we know it's going to be more than 20 years. Torí wọ́n ti fún wa ní clue yẹn that by 2075, that is when David Lammy gave us the clue on his visit to Nigeria after we delivered the letter. David Lammy made it known that Kumato (2075) get to buy freedom. That means they're going to use Tinubu as well going to 2027 to give us false hope that all will be good. That is what the British are good at. That is what the West are very good at. So we must prepare for a lot. But one thing I know is that from the way I'm thinking, all this Fulani agenda that we're crying out, all this cry, Fulani, 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 it is all part of the game, with Tinubu included. Everything happening in Nigeria is like a game. And the reason why I am thinking in this direction, especially when you watch movies and you realize the game that they're playing with human lives. We are just numbers that the world is using for their own selfish interest. (2075) is about 50 years from now. When I look back at what I've just written since I started the broadcast, before talking about 2075, àkọ́kọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ pẹ̀lú báwo mo ṣe mọ̀ pé ìyàwó Tinubu pé 65. Àbúrò Fáyọ̀ṣe wish President Tinubu's wife, Remi Tinubu, Senator Remi Tinubu, happy birthday, ma. You're looking very good at 65. Kódà ẹ̀ tẹ̀ dàbí ọmọ 65. You are more like a 30 years old. Èmi wá ní níbo ni ìyàwó Tinubu máa wà kọ́lọ̀ fún gbogbo alẹ́mì gbogbo àtàlàáfíà by 20 years from now. She will be 85 years old. Kó má dàbí pé orúkọ tí wọ́n nìkan ni mo lò, mo ní mi náà, I am 47 years today. 20 years from now, I will be 67. Let's go with Tinubu himself at 73. I'm not interested in whatever your age. Tinubu, that is what he said he is. 20 years from now, Tinubu will be 93. 20 years from now, Baba Akintoye will be 101 years old. Now, looking at this, Mwabere, 20 years from now, Kofumini exact year to Jegongong, and I got 2045. That means Britain was right to have pushed Nigeria to 2075, 50 years. What can we do? Should we sit back as a lame dog and allow the external force operating? Tinubu will not be able to operate independently on his own. Nigeria, because Tinubu is just one of the machines operating on behalf of the external force, don't pay Nigeria, just like all the previous presidents. They are just operating. Nigeria is now like the machine don't need to exist further, even though our key machine will end. Can kickstart machine me. Don't pay ni ile odua. But I don't think most of us understand that this is not what the world agbaye, this world, that is not what they want. That is not what they want. What the world wants is to keep Nigeria operating and throw everything inside and let us start asking ourselves, Fulani power, all these is just a lot of distraction. Often any language, you know, one thing, all this is not going to end. Because what is set timing to one is that fold up. But what is going to happen for the fold up of Nigeria? What do you think is going to happen? I know what is going to happen. I'm not going to tell you on the social media. I know what is going to happen for that fold up, but I'm not going to tell you. But whatever and whenever that time comes, I pray we will all be alive to witness it. So as this month of the United Nations General Assembly is a very important month, is a month of push of countries speaking with each other to see what they can do with other countries, because the world is changing and the world is moving at a very, very fast pace. Sometimes it's going to be difficult for us to catch up because of our daily calls. I used Ojameta film here at the 72 hours. Film content the bunker billionaire bunkers. The bunny Netflix, right? A fine time, Kellow. And Tobani Netflix is a series. We are all just part of the game for the world. But Ama Yorawa Nagbarolong. Ọ̀nà tí a fẹ́ fi yọra wa yẹn, òun ni gbogbo wa ṣì ń try láti figure out. And the world does not want us to go and become who we are. I looked at some of the atrocities committed fraud-wise by Yoruba people. Two different ones, the more follow the wiki. Èèyàn wà ní London, ó dẹ̀ ń defraud wọn ní Pennsylvania, America. By changing the domain of the I'm not going to go into all the details. I'm sure some of you have seen the story. But what I want to pinch out of it is that gbogbo brain ta ní, gbogbo ọgbọ́n t'Ọlọ́run fún wa yìí, why is it difficult for us to accept to go out of Nigeria with whatever means and then start building that country rather than use it to defraud, as those two Yorubas have done? You can't low ticket racket. I think that one is also in UK. Maybe the UK no, using fraudulent ways to buy tickets. Who that to lie out to Paris America, got to arrest in America. The cage and FBI ló wá gbé láti London. Ẹ wo gbogbo brain tí a ní. But there's just something that I think we are not ready for. We are not ready to confront whatever is going to be. I don't think we are ready for that. And that for me, sometimes I asked, why? Why is it that we are not ready to confront it? Because if we confront it, maybe we can get recognized. But since we don't want to confront it, we would all have to take our time for us to become an independent country. How soon, I don't know. When exactly, don't ask me. Because more people are ready to confront the fear. I don't think we are ready to confront the fear. And that is why, no, I'm good. All I've seen after watching 72 hours non-stop of the series of this movie, Billionaire's Bunker, I realized that even though àwọn táwọn rò pé olówó ni wọ́n tó jẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá ní Nigeria, they are all being controlled against their people. And that is why they can never support the dissolution of Nigeria. Kò sí nǹkan tẹ́bí sọ lẹ́nìí tí Fẹ́mi Ọ̀tẹ́dọ́lá máa support yín, or Okoya, Okeowo, Ebenezer Obey, even in his old age. You wonder why that man is scared. But every time Toba gbọ́ rumor pé wọ́n náà ti kú, wá sáré ṣe fídíò, àìtí kú o, mo ṣẹ̀ dé London ni o, àlàáfíà mo wà o. Sunny Ade, Funke Akindele, all those that we called sons and daughters of Yorubas within the shawl of Yoruba land and in the diaspora, because they are all controlled people. That means we are left alone. We are left alone to fight this fight on our own. Kò sẹ́ni kankan tó máa support yín láti ràn yín lọ́wọ́. I just want you to let you know that. Before you can think of any recognition by any country, recognition recognize Yoruba nation, we must go all the way out of our comfort zone. Anything short of that, we will campaign and campaign and campaign until something erupts. But one thing I want us to understand is that even as the world knows that if things don't move very fast, our land is there. I'm going to take us to some development news I picked up about something that you might probably say, well, Yoruba nation. But maybe it might mean something to you or not. I want us to look at this article of some news that developed a few days ago. New evidence proves North Sea asteroid impact. This was 2 days ago. Kí ni wọ́n pè ní asteroid? Asteroid is a minor planet, an object larger than a meteoroid that is neither a planet nor an identified comet that orbit within the inner solar system or is co-orbited with Jupiter. Asteroids are rocky, metallic, icy bodies with no atmosphere are broadly classified into C-type, M-type, or S-type. But something around it was picked in the news, or I picked up in the news 2 days ago. I've been following the story anyway. Scientists have found proof that an asteroid hit the North Sea more than 73 million years ago, causing a huge tsunami and leaving a 1.9 mile wide crater under the seabed. The Silver Pit crater is around 80 miles off the East Yorkshire coast and was discovered in 2002. Why is it that we don't want the world to discover us? Kí ni nǹkan tá ń bẹ̀rù tá fi jẹ́ kí gbogbo àgbáyé kó discover wa? Even though we know who we are. Why tá fi jẹ́ kí gbogbo àgbáyé pátá kó discover wa? Kí ògo yẹn kó shine across the globe. Why? But according to the Fox News, still on the asteroid, we know that a massive one, bigger than a skyscraper, was heading towards the Earth at 24,000 miles per hour. Let's pick that news from the Fox News. We're 28 minutes to the end of this broadcast. Koikimedia bringing the world closer to your doorsteps. It seems that we love just going around YouTube channel, Kilon Sonibi, as if all those things that we say will give us the Yoruba nation. What will give us Yoruba nation is we conquer our fear once and for all. And we determine whatever is going to take, we go with it. But it seems that only few of us are ready for that. The majority doesn't seem to care. Let's quickly give you the background to that Fox News story. The headline, massive. Tó bá sọ pé nǹkan massive, àwa nìran tó wà massive. Àfẹ́wá jáde, àwa ń bẹ̀rù pé tá bá jáde kí ló fẹ́ ṣẹlẹ̀? Tá bá jáde kí ló máa happen? Ta ló máa accept it? Ta ló máa fún wa ní recognition? But we are even fearful of the steps to take láti move forward for whatever reasons. But asteroid tó ń bọ̀ láti kíbi tó bá ti ń bọ̀, wọ́n kàn lè sọ pé ó ń bọ̀, but wọ́n lè detect pé báyìí ló máa jábọ́ sí. Moving at more than 24,000 miles per hour. I'm sure some of you know what that means. The average person to buy a drive will pare will drive 160 miles per hour. Can we imagine to buy pé Yoruba nation people, our Iromalade, our Odùduwà, we are moving at that 24,000 miles per hour. In tó bá kọlù wá kó kọlù wá, but òun náà mọ̀ pé òun fara kọlù nǹkan. But we have been deceived by lies. And that's the reason why the movement seems not to be moving forward, because lies, you know, people will tell you, oh, ilé má ṣẹlẹ̀, and eventually, because some of our people are still looking into either the government or the world to make decision on our behalf. And that's why confusion, a very structure, at the country, 2027, everything is just, they create this chaos to give to us, to deal with, knowing that the agenda is to keep the country floating, even further more than 2075. So just to end the broadcast quickly, a massive asteroid bigger than a skyscraper is heading towards the earth. This was September 17 in the news. I just want us to look at it as àwa ìrànmọ́ládé fẹ́ dìde, but something is pulling us back. Tá bá fẹ́ dìde, something seems to be pulling us back. And what is pulling us back is because we're looking at the humans among us. We know them, even if I don't mention their names, mostly the politicians. We're seeing them as people that are untouchable, that will now direct our lives. Let's read quickly because of time. A massive asteroid nearly the size of a New York skyscraper will make a close approach or pass by the Earth in the early hours of September 18, according to scientists. Kò sẹ́ni tó lè dá dúró, wọ́n kàn pray pé kíbi tó bá máa já sí, kí impact yẹn kó má pọ̀. But look at every one of us. Àtọmọdé àtàgbàlagbà, we're scared. We are too fearful. We are not who truly we are. All we have done is become confused in the world that is crazy. Ilé ayé tó crazy la ni tí kò kàn wá, wọ́n kó gbogbo wa sáàrin ẹ̀. Because after watching this movie, like I said, I realized that there's a lot happening in the world that we are living beyond our nose. But I know that what will eventually lead to the dissolution will not be longer than what they want. I know what they want. In táwọn fẹ́ ni pé kó pẹ́ kó má tètè yá, but I know it will not be for them. And that's how far I can take it tonight. Koikimedia bringing the world closer to your doorstep. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ní àṣálẹ́. Ọba Elédùmarè á fi ọgbọ́n òye tá máa fi parí ẹ̀. There's no amount of sending YouTube link, watching Koikimedia, what can lead to the final call. Ìkí gbogbo akádìde pátápátá. But I don't think we all want to stand up. We want to get Yoruba nation, but we are not ready to stand up to complete the job. And the world is deceiving us with many things happening that has nothing to do with us. What needs to happen is focus on our own land and do whatever needs to be done. If not, we'll be here tomorrow, next year, the year before, and something might happen, and 1 year, 1 month, it will eventually click. But like I said before I go out of the broadcast finally, this is the month, OLAKUNLE, this is the actual month of diplomacy. And we must not ignore that. Fulani Nicole and Baja, you're fighting the global world. And the global world doesn't want you to rise up. Kódà púpọ̀ nínú wa gan sẹ́, ó lè jẹ́ iṣẹ́ tá à ń ṣe gan ló máa fi pínu àmọ́lẹ̀ iṣẹ́ tá a kàn ṣe, just to get us out of the distraction of why our land is where it is. But we will never stop calling you out. Kí gbogbo akájọ dìde. Kò ń ṣe olóyè nìkan ló lè dìde. Gbogbo alájọ máa dìde. And the earlier the better, before it is too late. I pray that it will not be late for us. Gbogbo ọmọ nǹkan ṣe. I want to say more, but I'll just leave it for now. Koikimedia bringing the world closer to your doorstep. Have a very nice week. I might be off again for a couple of days. Like I said, my staff will continue to operate and educate us all. We will continue to be here to defend and protect using the media. But the media cannot finish the job. Buying, selling, talking, Yoruba nation has to happen off the social media. Like an asteroid. Don't travel only 24,000 miles an hour. Imagine, before you go to sleep, if Bubuaba move at 24,000 miles, but Bubu only move because they've used a lot of things, from the food to the information we hear. Yeah, hey, ẹlòmíì ò kọ́kọ́ tí ṣẹlẹ̀ o. Gbogbo tí wọ́n pààyàn tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá lẹ́nìí, nǹkan kan tí ṣẹlẹ̀. Nígbà tí nǹkan bá ṣẹlẹ̀ gangan, kò sẹ́ni tó máa pariwo hey ha, everybody will react. As far as I'm concerned, nothing has happened. So now when people send me the video, I just watch it and I delete it. Itibali post my post, Itibali if you status me. Because I think that we have been used by the world as a tool for distraction itself. I get distracted just like you. But I know one day, Biasha Oloye, ojú ló ń kán ìbòjì, òun máa débẹ̀. Ìgbà tó rùn máa débẹ̀ làní mọ̀, òun máa débẹ̀. Orin Alamasun, have a blessed week, and God bless you all. Koikimedia bringing the world closer to your doorstep. Mo kí àwa Dúpẹ́ Agboola, gbogbo ẹni tí bá dárúkọ ẹ má fi ṣèbínú, bàbá wa Débísí Adébóyè, mo kí yín. Yorùbá nation no retreat, no surrender. We will not stop campaigning, but like I said, asteroid is who we are. The world is scared of us, but our opposite, our ń bẹ̀rù àgbáyé torí pé àwọn òpó ìta bá ṣe níbo la ti máa ráta, níbo la ti máa rí epo, níbo la ti máa rí this, when everything is with us. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ wà káàkiri gbogbo different communities. Bye for now. God bless you. Ó dàárọ̀. Mo kí yín ẹ̀gbọ́n mi Tokyo 778. Good night. Solar 2324. Bye for now. Ẹ ṣé gan ni o. Èṣùfẹ́mi mo kí yín. Thank you so much. Àṣàbí Smiley Beauty láti Èrúwà mo kí yín sister mi. Àdúrà wa gbà o. Ó dàárọ̀.